Okay, this is my non-spoiler review of Star Trek Picard, Episode 1, The Next Generation, Season 3, final season. First of all, I'm going to right about and say that this episode was absolutely fantastic. Right off the bat, you got pure action, and from an unlikely character, and that was Dr. Beverly Crusher. I won't spoil exactly why, but she was completely badass in the actual early opening sequence of the actual episode. And what kind of made it really great is because that with the Next Generation female characters, whether it was Dr. Beverly Crusher or Deanna Troi, they didn't get much to do in their in the show. Only when they had both of the characters had their own standalone episodes dedicated to them, and even then it wasn't kind of like great. And then even in the movies they didn't get much to do either. But it's finally that we get to see Beverly Crusher doing a lot more evolved, and then showing that she's just not just because that she's female, that she's incapable of being able to take care of herself. And as I said before, when you see the actual sequence of the episode, it was of her doing what she was doing, it was actually really great. Although we do get a hint of something, which kind of reveals itself at the end of the actual episode. And then we then focus on Picard, who again this won't be a spoiler because it's in the trailer. He gets a message from Beverly Crusher needing his help and not to trust Starfleet. So then he goes to Will Riker, or Captain Will Riker as he's known as, for help. And then obviously they then set off to try and find a way of trying to find Beverly Crusher and her ship. Riker has a plan involving an old friend, that's Seven of Nine, or Annika Hansen as she's known, as on board the new Titan, or the refit. And then the new captain, basically he's a bit of a dick, where they thought that maybe that he would sit there and then help them, with Riker's plan. Well, Riker has a plan in trying to which would implement them trying to rescue Beverly Crusher. But obviously the captain's not having it, and basically he's not a fan of Picard, or Admiral Picard, or Captain Riker. So then they get help from an unlikely source, and then it's basically a matter of them trying to finding the ship, which obviously which they do. And then there's a reveal, and then the episode basically ends. So yeah, there's not going to go into detail what happens, but what I did love about the episode was that Will Riker, he's kind of really funny in it, and especially one joke that he says, which involves an offspring of a Next Generation character, which probably you already know if you've seen the trailer or read up on it. And then Riker cracks a joke in it, which I thought was very funny, and I thought it was really nice to see Riker kind of he can be serious, but when the job gets tough, you can always depend on him to help him, to be loyal, even if it means risking his life. But then he also knows when to kind of crack a joke as well, which is what he was doing. This was absolutely fantastic. There's loads of Easter eggs in the episode. Some time back to the Next Generation, some of the Next Generation episodes, even a certain character in a certain episode, which I won't spoil. But I will say that one of the Easter eggs involves Raffi, who, I won't spoil what's going on with her, but everything isn't what it seems. But the actual thing that she's kind of looking for, there's kind of a link to an episode of Next Generation called I think it's called Yesterday's Enterprise. So you'll know what I'm talking about when you've read an episode and what the link is when you kind of actually see it. So that was kind of really great. But what I thought was really great about the the actual episode is that obviously, I mean, I liked season 1 and 2, although they started to tail off, but I still enjoyed them. But to me, they didn't fulfill the potential of what they should have done, especially with season 2, which season 2 was a improvement of season 1, but there's so much more that I wish that they could have done. It felt like it was being kind of drawn out, and I think because with season 2 that it was on Earth in the past, that basically we all obviously know Star Trek more to do to be trekking across the different through space, and because it didn't do that in season 2, I think that's kind of what let it down a bit, I think. But with this episode now, this season now, they're focusing more on space travel. We will get the classic Star Trek that we know all and love. But what I will say is that definitely the actual visual effects look a lot better than even from the first season, even right down to the second season. They've definitely upped their game with the kind of special effects. This season, I mean, judging it by the first episode, definitely feels like the classic Star Trek, in a sense that it feels like how Star Trek you would expect it to feel like, but kind of modernized for this day and age. And I think it also helps because of the fact that obviously now we're getting the original's Next Generation crew being added to it, so it feels more like a next gen. If I was going to be honest, it feels as if so far that it feels like it's a big feature-length movie in terms of the special effects, the lighting, the cinematography, the plot, the story, and the characterization, and it just feels like a really big movie. It feels like as if it could be Star Trek, the follow-up to Star Trek Nemesis. And then I think this season, I think there's 10 episodes, so it's going to be interesting in how they can keep the pace up and keep the story arc going along for the further remaining 9 episodes, rather than with the previous seasons, should I say, that it felt like they were just kind of just dragging it on just to fill those episodes. So as long as they've got something in there that's going on, and then obviously this villain which will be kind of revealed, and what the character's motivation is, as long as they get that intact, and that to me time will tell whether or not the entire run of these final season 3 will kind of have that big payoff. But I'm kind of hoping that is the case. Again, the musical themes in the actual episode, there's loads of that kind of going, especially with the intro. You hear the classic Star Trek Next Generation theme mixed in with the Picard theme, so that's kind of really great. And then with the end credits, you get like this graphical sequence that goes on showing like different Easter eggs from the Next Generation, and it's playing the classic Star Trek First Contact theme, along with the Next Generation theme from the TV series, and even a couple of themes from the Star Trek. It sounded like they were playing themes from Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek, The Search for Spock, and maybe even Undiscovered Country. But it was definitely playing at the end of it some of the classic original Enterprise crew musical themes or musical motifs in the actual thing. So we're playing the classic Star Trek themes. Kind of pulled on the heartstrings, as I said before, hearing the bombastic Star Trek First Contact movie theme being played in there, and then it going into the Next Generation theme, and then even using the same graphical fonts for the title and the actual things that were going on in the actual episode. What I also thought was kind of really great, if I can look on my notes here, that they dedicated the episode to the actress Anna Wersinger, who played the Borg Queen in Picard season 2, and she sadly was diagnosed with cancer, and she died in January. So they've dedicated the episode to her, which I thought was a really, really nice, touching kind of doing that, and very fitting as well with the way they're doing it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to episode 2, which I think is the Next Generation part 2. And in the UK, that will be on Amazon Prime, which they do it on Friday at midnight, and obviously in the North America, obviously they'll get it a day early on Paramount Plus. But yeah, so far, judging from the first episode, I'm absolutely loving the episodes, and fingers crossed that the remaining 9 episodes are just as strong as the opening episode. So that's my review of Star Trek Picard, Episode 1, The Next Generation, Season 3, final season.